guys have questions? If you disagree, if you see something else, tell me and let's stop it, let's talk about it, okay? But like last week, having 5 conversations over here, and nobody really agreed, doesn't do any of us any good. So if you disagree with something, you see something else on the video, let's stop and talk about it, all right?
Yeah, the point of the videos is so you see it on film, and when we leave the room, we should all have an understanding of this is how everybody's going to call it.
Welcome to the 2012
I plugged in the right spot.
We're going to start with the first one. Now, our philosophy when it comes to
Maybe stop it for a moment. Lights for a moment, please. Thank you. While he's fixing this, I want to tell you that I talked to a referee who is not working with us this year, but he has appeared on some of the films, including one where on a prior week segment of film, there was 12 players on a kicking team. He said, well, they were behind 56-0, and they couldn't get the kickoff with 11, so I was going to let them have 12. And I'm going, yeah, right, you're busted. I really...
If his foot's over on a deep kick, we're not going to lose too much sleep over it. Again, by rule, if the plane is broken, you have a problem. The acceptable part of this is if it's a deep kick. Now, if this is an onside or a short pooch kick, that becomes more and more of a plane, okay?
Play number 2 is another encroachment on a free kick. And again, we're not going to split hairs here. So if the ball was kicked and the player was at this position, even though he might be just a fraction of the line, we're going to pass on that when it comes to deep kicks. But in this case, the player was actually in this position when the ball was kicked. That's clearly over the line, and it was called.
Again, he's talking about it being clearly over the line.
And we have an onside kick, that play must be 100% legal. So as you can see in this case, the player is just barely past the line when the ball is kicked. But because it's an onside kick.
Okay, what he's talking about here is, here we've got an onside kick. This, your kicking line, now becomes an absolute plane.
Very strict.
Very strict. We're not going to give him any break on this. What's really funny about this is I tried to tell the coach, make sure all your players still stay behind the line, and he chose to tell me to zip it.
It has to be 100% legal, and the player at the top of the screen is just a fraction of the line. This was kicked back in the script. Play number 4 is the first touching play. And on a free kick, it is first touching if K is the first to touch the ball prior to traveling 10 yards. In this case, the first touching was picked up and the ball was brought back to the spot of the touching and awarded to the ball.
Again, on this one, he's just talking about first touching. Making sure that somebody picks up that first touching. This is the back judge.
On that one, we had the first touching, the ball was never stepped and straight out of bounds.
Correct.
So what you're going to have in that case, first touching, ball going out of bounds without possession, is you have a bag and a flag.
Right.
Okay? And then R has options. And one of the options is I can decline the penalty and take the spot of first touching.
Can you rewind that one?
Play number 4 is the first touching play. And on a
Hey, since we have low speaker, no talking over there.
K is the first to touch the ball prior to traveling 10 yards. In this case, the first touching was picked up and the ball was brought back to the spot of the touching and awarded to the judge.
Oh, yeah, I think Kicking team cannot advance a kick. This is what we're talking about on this one.
And that player advances. And this player will go down and bring it back to the spot of the recovery and one to two.
Again, right here. This is where we should have been on our whistles killing it. Okay, what he's talking about
Are
on
you
this?
sitting on that speaker?
What's that?
Are you sitting on the speaker?
It seems fine.
That's why it was good. What he's talking about, this is this year's rule. And he's talking about
Locking in advance of the ball.
blocking in advance, okay? Everybody see number 11?
And that rule states that no member of the team shall initiate contact with an opponent until one is beaten. The first is able to establish a yard, or the continual eligibility to cover up to 6 plays. In this case, we do have a first touch, but everyone should also have blocked by the kicking team before the ball is out of the yard. If you that is a foul for you to block, and you have penalties in the previous shot, and the equivalent is the same as you block the regular. Being learned that kick was expected, so we had 4 officials at critical, but generally we have the 5 onside kick will only be 2. So it's very important that we stay focused, and the offside officials help out when necessary to block. And this
Okay, if you're not hearing it, what he's talking about is obvious. This particular play is an obvious onside kick. This year with this rule, if you don't have an obvious onside kick, you're kind of screwed with our coverage. We've only got 2 people up there. What they're talking about is the offside official, which in this particular case would be the line, the back judge on this side. Needs to open up his field of vision and really watch for this stuff. Let this official up here handle the first touching, who's touched the ball. But the offside guy, make sure you're opening up your field of vision and try and catch this.
And once the ball is kicked, if you don't have encroachment, there's not a whole lot going on at the 40-yard line. So look at where the ball's going or what players are about to contact one another in the first wave.
Real quick, what is the penalties called for that, and then what is the correct?
On a block before R is able to, or before K is able to legally touch the ball, is an illegal block.
What are the
Signal is below your 10-yard previous spot.
Right, what's the penalty on that one now? It's just gonna be, is that the chop, block to the
The signal is the chop block signal, and the penalty would be 10 yards and re-kick in this case.
The chop block or the illegal block below the waist?
It's the illegal block.
Block below the waist, my mistake. Block below the waist signal.
Yeah, and that's where you're gonna have to explain, because one's 15, one's 10.
Right.
You have to announce that.
But you can see the guy right there by the cock 7 sign. He's in advance of the ball, and he's trying to take somebody out. He's not trying to get the ball. He's trying to clear a path. That's the play we're talking about as a foul this year.
Bob, just to clarify, they needed to also take this play, first touching. Instead of 10 yards, they could take the penalty, free kick, or take the first touching spot.
If it was first touched by.
Correct. Correct. They could decline the penalty, take the spot of first touching.
It was touched by red.
Is that being communicated to the junior leagues, you know, Pop Warner and everybody?
And it's not our job to train their coaches on the rules.
Okay.
If we send them opportunities to come to our meetings, we don't hold classes for them.
That information, if it being presented to the association for them to distribute out to their, to the federation to distribute to the association of coaches.
As long as they're not.
They'll learn it pretty quick. Go ahead. Whoa.
And the rule says that for this to be a foul, the kicking team must be willing to initiate contact for the eligible to get the ball.
Okay, what he's talking about here is number 7. The rule this year is the kicking team cannot initiate the block. If you watch the receiving team, he's the one that's trying to initiate the block. There's not a problem.
Question on that one,
I'm sorry, you're going to speak up, bud.
I have a question about that one. I only saw it the first time. From when I first saw it, it looked like he might have been tagging for the ball.
Correct.
But he still initiated the contact. With
He initiated the contact versus the kicking team. Right.
But if he's initiating the contact as a result of him going for the ball, that is not a block.
Correct.
Correct. But he's still initiating contact with makes everything else, right?
No.
No, initiating block, not initiating contact with the ball.
Right. If he's making a bona fide attempt for the ball as opposed to trying to block, then you could still have a foul if the other player is trying to block him versus making a bona fide attempt for the ball.
So if a member of the receiving team advances and blocks a solo kicking team, that would be ignored. But in this case, that our player...
See, I personally would think that to be a foul. I thought the player in red was trying to get through to get to the ball.
That's what I was asking. Is that a foul or is
He
that...
watched the player in red. He's not trying to block, he's trying to get between them.
And they're blocking.
Right, they're getting him. So I have a foul on white.
Yep, that's what I want to make sure we clarify.
And 5 million count, anytime you have a kicker you sometimes have that spot where the majority of the field all the way around to ditch for the goal line. And the basket and line judge to be faded and then have goal line responsibility. And this kicker does a great job defensively.
Okay, in this particular play, what Tyler's talking about is the mechanics that Bob were talking about earlier. The head linesman and the umpire have forward progress basically all the way down the field. 2-yard line, I believe, if I remember correctly. The back judge and the line judge should be fading and keep fading. And that's what he's talking about here.
And you can see the line judge does an excellent job of fading, keeping distance between himself and the runner. So it's necessary to be able to play the goal line. Number 9, and the next play we have another 2 kickers return. And the umpire did a nice job of picking up the spot. But unlike the previous play, the line judge doesn't fade enough to get himself safe. And because of that, we end up with 2 officials with the exact same view in almost the identical position. And when it comes
Okay, what he's talking about here is the fact that the line judge didn't fade. He kind of just hung out here if you watch. At the tail end of the game, at the tail end of the play, you've got both the headlines, or the line judge, and I believe it's going to be the umpire down here, both in the same spot. Okay? If you're the line judge or the back judge, you should be fading all the way back out of there. Okay? See where he's just...
So let's remember this for a line judge or back judge, when we fading back, keeping that distance, and making enough vibration and launching the block on the front.
We got 2 people sitting down here. We're really losing our field of vision. Okay?
Now our starting position for a referee on the free kick is on the goal line. And the referee is responsible for determining whether a kick has crossed the goal line or not. And in this case, we have a kick.
See, the referee has no shot there. Did the ball cross the goal line? Heck, he can't know. He's got to pivot around to the side, hash mark on either side, and be looking down the line. From 5 yards deep where he's standing, look where the player's standing. You think the ball broke the plane to the goal line?
Absolutely.
Roll it.
Right to the goal line. And the referee is pissed off his position because of the rotation in play. So if this happens, it's important to put it back in the end zone, then we go on the goal line and maybe to make it. Moving on to play number 11. And in this play, you can see the referee is in perfect position to make a ruling on the kick. And
carried.
Is that if the ball is very close to the goal line, we're going to do every
Did he possess it?
Wow. Okay, what Tyler's saying here, and it kind of goes unfortunately opposite to what Bob said earlier, you're going to let the player decide. If he recovers this ball in the end zone, at this point, because it was so close, if he stays in the end zone, we're going to put him down, touchback. If he decides to run it out, he's going to allow him to run it out.
Why wouldn't your wing guys, your umpire, your head linesman help you with that?
That's probably why they ended up on video tonight.
I understand it's the referee's call, but he blocked from the player's back. So you're not gonna rely on the umpire. I mean, somebody should be facing that and have the guts to call it.
If I remember correctly, when the video says, what Tyler says, is that the ball was closely recovered before the goal line. And then the guy took it in the end zone and then brought it out.
My way of thinking is, if I'm the referee, I got a beanbag down. I could easily say that he had possession at the 1, and the momentum of the kick carried him in. But if I'm ruling that way, I'm putting a beanbag down, or I'm calling that. To me, that's not close enough where I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt. If the ball is straddling the line, okay, close enough. But look at that. The entire ball's there, and the guy's a yard deep.
You're calling that
Safety anyway.
I would have either a touchback, or I would have a beanbag for momentum at the 1.
Something to define what you're calling it.
I think you're safe, you're much safer calling this a touchback, in my opinion. I'm not a referee.
I agree.
This is, it's much easier to do it a touchback and sell it that way, guys. Hold on, guys. Guys, please, I'm half deaf, that's hard enough for me to hear. I'm sorry, what was the question, please?
I'm talking about the force. Force is the kick.
Kick.
The kick didn't, the force of that kick took that player past the the goal line, so touchback.
And what all I'm saying is it's different. This is easier. This is a lot easier. If it's that close, it's easier just to go touchback. Am I correct?
I don't have a problem if you call that a touchback. In terms of when he actually gained possession, could easily be said that he had some bobble and didn't have full control until the ball had broken the plane. I'm okay with that. I would say this, if you decide you want to let him run it out, I'm going to put a beanbag down there, because in my way of thinking, he had the ball, in my way of thinking, before he broke the plane. And so if I'm going to let him run it out, I'm going to have a beanbag for momentum. Otherwise, I'm going to kill it. And so 99% of the time, I'm killing that.
On that, if you put the beanbag down, you're talking about, and he nails in the end zone, then what do you do?
If he kneels down in the end zone and the bag is on the ground, you have no option. It's momentum. But I'm not going to rush to throw the beanbag. I'm going to be thinking beanbag, and if he downs it, I can easily go touchback. Okay? If he starts running it out, then I can put it there. Put the beanbag down after the fact.
This was correctly called walking the picture on the field. And once you get to the end of the block, and you guys start to do this type of contact is extremely dangerous for the pitcher. It's less picked up to
Pretty easy call, I don't think there's any question here.
Yeah, that's a Ray Charles call.
From this first angle, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of contact that we're seeing around here, the end zone here. You can clearly see the defender in the first half with the left leg of the kicker, putting the lower legs out. If you want to pick up on the field, you can call that a
All he's saying basically, guys, that Hunter is in a highly bad position, vulnerable position. This should be an easy call. If he gets displaced, which sure I use the right words, Bob. If he gets displaced, it gets knocked on his keister, that's a 15-yarder. The only time it's gonna be a 5, if maybe he got spun a little bit. Fair statement?
Yes.
Yeah. And you look at where the kicker came back down. If he gets hit while he's still on the way down and he hadn't established a foot back on the ground, always 15. Okay? If he hits the ground and he's doing a little hop and then he gets bumped and he falls down on his own, then you're thinking 5. Okay? But if he's getting hit on the way down and his foot from being airborne as a kicker hasn't had a chance to plant and get balance, always 15. When in doubt, if you're not sure, 15.
That answer somebody's question?
Now, on the end there, did they say this crew did or did not pick this up?
This was the correct call.
Okay, thank you.
And the only way you're not going to call it is if the guy who contacts the kicker, not a teammate, but the guy who contacts the kicker gets a piece of the ball. Then he has not free shot to kill him, but he can have contact with the kicker without a flag.
Right? Not rough in the
Number
kicker.
15 is maintains a rough contact that is not roughing official. When you move to it, the ball is snapped over the head of the kicker, and it's uncertain the kick will be made, so that he has to give him some leeway on this contact.
Yep, that's a kick without an opportunity for the defender to recognize it. He's so close there that he can't really stop. Now, he doesn't get to go elbows and knees and pound the guy, but he does have the ability to contact him without a flag. No cheap shot. See that?
Something over here? Kick catch interference.
And when it comes to kick catch interference, it's important to remember that the receiver always gets the opportunity to complete the catch. In this case, you can see that Flores attempted to move forward and touch the ball, and remember the kicking team obstructs his path. This is a classic example of kick catch.
Okay, what he's talking about here is, in our rules, R has to have an unimpeded opportunity to get to the ball. If it's a short kick, if he has to go around a kicking team player, you have a problem. You may not have contact, but if he has to go around him to get to the ball, or he prevents him from getting to the ball, you have kick catching interference. Sometimes it can be a real shitty call, or you feel like it, but it's reality. He has to have an unimpeded opportunity to get to the ball. And that's what Tyler's talking about here. He says something about completing the catch. That's an entirely different environment where you want to give him the opportunity to actually make the catch by touching it and bringing it in. But on this particular call, White's not giving him the chance.
And remember, it is 15 yards from the previous spot, or an awarded fair catch at the spot of the foul.
He's to the side, though. He's to the side.
I would give benefit of the doubt to the receiver, and I would flag that. I understand he may have been slightly to the side, but I still think he's close enough to the front of him that he's impeding that guy's opportunity to have a clean play on the ball. If the receiver could reach out and touch him, that's too close.
And then 17, is an example of two kicking team members who crowd the receiver as he's attempting to make a fair catch. And philosophy-wise, if we have kicking team players and that receiver drops the ball with or without contact, we will have a foul for kick catch.
Okay. This is an age-old discussion. Okay, what Tyler's talking about here, I hope I'm not in everybody's way. What Tyler's talking about here is if you have this setup where both people are here, where we talked about where you may have the potential for kick catching interference. If the receiver completes the catch you've got to catch, you have no kick catching interference. He was able to do that. Does that make sense? You know, here's the crappy thing. If the receiving team had a foul, this wouldn't offset it, they didn't call it. But the reality is, if the receiver can complete the catch, what is the foul? Okay? Back judges, put that in your mind as part of the equation. Well, one more piece that he does finish off with, at least go talk to these guys. If you're the back judge, say something to them. Give them a little bit of room. Because there's going to be very little leeway if he muffs the ball.
Another philosophy when it comes to kick catching interference is that if you have contact that occurs simultaneously or nearly simultaneously to the ball arriving.
Another reach.
Was not possible, that you can see it probably could be. And even though the ball might touch the player a fraction of a second before the contact arrives, based on our philosophy.
Okay, that was that second point. Now, in this particular game, number 3 was a jerk anyway, so the fact they didn't get this call. Again, the receiver must have the opportunity to get the ball in his possession and make the catch. If there's a little bit of a bobble out, and during that time frame he gets hit, you have a problem. He must be able to catch it and be able to complete the catch and kind of be able to defend himself or be able to do something with it. Would that be fair?
I wouldn't say.
Just completing the catch.
Yeah, complete the catch is what I want to say there.
Yeah.
He has to have a chance for the ball to arrive and for him to complete the catch. If he juggles it a little bit and he gets hit during the juggle, that's a foul on Team K.
Okay. Like I said, he was going to be a jerk later in the game, so too bad for him.
He got ejected anyway. Based on our philosophy, if you do have a battle down kick catching interference, then it could be called a foul. And remember that anytime we have a receiving player call for a catch, then if the player makes that catch, then they are awarded protection from being hit. And you can't prove that the fair catch signal wasn't made on mistake, but based on the fact that this contact was called a late hit, you can assume that it was.
Okay, all he's talking about here is the player gave a fair catch signal, he completed the catch, and clearly the kicking team player hit it, which has a good call here. Unlike the gentleman Bob was talking about earlier, this is a dead ball penalty that will be tacked on. This is not kick catching interference, unlike Brian.
When you have a fair catch, once the ball is caught, the play is over. And if you have contact after that, then it's plays over, dead ball foul. It doesn't matter if it's a 1/10 of a second or 5 seconds. Once he's completed the catch, it's a dead ball.
Everybody good?
Moving on to play number 10, and we were going to take a look at our brand new team route mechanic. So anytime we have a team come out in team route formation, the line judge will now stay on line finish. The back judge will have his normal post. But the new thing is that the umpire will also back up and take the line judge field goal post, which now are
Okay. Tyler's actually using this, which is good. Swinging gate mechanic. And now what we're going to do is he is going to slide back,
You'll have the left post.
yeah, over here.
And the back judge is trying to.
He
get
should have
the
already
post.
been here,
Yep,
okay?
and the referee will be over on the open side of the hole.
Right, referee will be over here, have a good look here. He slides back here. Your back judge will be over here. I have a tendency to agree with Bob that your line judge over here should have a great view of this. He should be able to make sure that he's okay. If they switch, this particular is a fake, so we won't see it, but let's say they move back into position, unlike years past, these guys are just gonna stay in their positions. They're not gonna move forward and readjust.
Matt, question. Are not all offensive players, the shoulders supposed to be parallel to the line?
Lineman, if you're a back, there's no requirement.
Okay.
He's okay. All these guys should be parallel to the line.
And this phone, you can go through the phone, even if the thing is fast in your normal vehicle formation. Now, please keep in mind that we're still in experimental mechanics, and it just applies to when the team comes out and it's in the formation. If we have a team that comes out in a regular vehicle formation, our mechanic will still determine the all the stuff. And because this mechanic is experimental, please, as the season goes on, send in any feedback you have to the email as well.
Okay, the last couple points he made, if you can't hear it very well, if the team comes out in a regular scrimmage kick, track point formation, we're not going to go to this mechanic. It'll be normal, back judge, line judge. It's only when they come out and set up in a swinging gate formation, then we'll use this experimental. He also says that it's experimental. You guys, especially probably going to be the umpires, are going to be the biggest contributors. Send in emails to, I think it's Tyler, that's on the end of this, if I remember right. Send emails to Tyler, let him know what you think. Good, bad, or indifferent. Okay?
Yes, if you have issues or concerns with this new mechanic, it's important that you share them with Tyler, and he'll gather all of those and compile them at the end of the season.
I want to say in front of the whole here, I've got something different. You don't see this every day. Not
I figured this one out. This almost looks like it should have been a field goal situation.
There's no holder.
Yeah.
That's okay. So they're lined up in what you call a shotgun formation. That's what that is, it's shotgun.
It kind of screws us up. But you don't see it very often.
They must know something, because he seems to be a right-handed guy, and the referee's
I
on
know,
the
the
left-hand
referee's on the
side. They must know something was coming.
Well, remember on a drop kick,
Well, I'm guessing that what occurred here is that the team told them we do this because
Right.
normally the back judge would not be under any post. Okay? And so since he's on a post, I think they had some advanced tip-off that we drop kick.
I'm not knocking, somebody's in there, I'm not knocking you, I'm just saying, if you did have this situation, it might be better for him to be on the hook side. If you've got a right-footed kicker, probably it would be better over here. You have the other official.
What if it's a weird quarterback who throws left-handed but kicks right?
You're 100% right. But again, remember on a drop kick, it's got to hit the ground and be coming back up. It cannot be kicked off the ground. That drop kick?
It's kicked as it's on the ground or when it's rising. You can't punt it. You must let it hit the ground first.
So at least hit the ground.
Yep. And you can kick it as it makes contact with the ground or as it's rebounding off.